Okay, we were here at DNS resolver. So pfSense is working as a DNS resolver, but at the same time, I'm using Pi-hole also as a DNS server. So reason of Pi-hole is that it will block all the ads on the network. So I have been using it, but as I made the changes to my pfSense, now the requests are not directly going to Pi-hole. What I want here, I want the pfSense to work as an upstream for Pi-hole, and all the devices should on the network should use Pi-hole, so that ads will get blocked and then it will be filtered and filtered traffic will be sent. What I'll do here, I'll go to Pi-hole, I'll go to settings, and in settings I'll go to DNS, and in DNS, instead of Cloudflare DNS, so I will not be using these, I'll be using custom DNS, which is 192.168.240.1. This will be my custom DNS, and I'll simply save the changes here. Now what will happen that all the DNS requests which will be coming to Pi-hole will be sent to pfSense. So pfSense will be receiving the DNS requests from Pi-hole. So you can see here, this will be receiving here. So I can ask the DHCP server. So pfSense is also a DHCP server. I want the DHCP server to send the DNS request to Pi-hole, and then of course Pi-hole is already sending the request to the pfSense. So what I'll do, I will go back to my pfSense and I'll go to the services, DHCP server, and I'll tell DHCP server that the DNS server which you should assign to the devices on the network should be 192.168.240.6, which is Pi-hole. Save these changes. So if I show you with the help of diagram that what I have done right now, for example, here is my laptop and my laptop is connected to the internet. For example, if I open google.com, DNS request will be sent to pfSense, and pfSense will be sending the request to the Cloudflare. So pfSense has its own IP address. So google.com request is being, or any DNS request is being sent from my laptop to the pfSense. So pfSense will get the response back because pfSense is already getting the response from these DNS servers. I want my laptop to send the request to the Pi-hole, which is already there on my network. Pi-hole will be asking the DNS request from pfSense, and then pfSense is getting the response from the Cloudflare or Google DNS. I could also send the request directly here. Why I did this? Because I want to keep the record of all the DNS requests which are being sent. So here I'm maintaining my database here in Pi-hole also now, that all the traffic is going to Pi-hole. But at the same time, this traffic which is coming to Pi-hole, it goes back to pfSense, and in pfSense DNS resolver, these are all the DNS requests which are coming from the network through Pi-hole to pfSense. So this way Pi-hole is working here, but pfSense is in fact providing via DHCP server. So it is providing the IP address, and at the same time it is telling that your DNS address will be this one. If I show you my Wi-Fi settings now, and if I show you details, right now the DNS server is 192.168.240.1. If I disconnect now and reconnect again, so my DNS server IP address will be now 192.168.240.6. The reason is because I configured the DHCP server and I mentioned that the server for the DNS will be 192.168.240.6 for all the clients that will be getting the IP address from the DHCP server. So if I go here now to my network settings and see the IP address details, you can see here DHCP is 192.168.240.1, but the DNS is 192.168.240.6. And here what will be the benefit, that Pi-hole is now going to block all the ads. DNS default port is port 53, globally being used by all the DNS servers until they explicitly change the port. Otherwise, the default port for the DNS is port 53. Now suppose if I want to have the local servers to have the DNS names. For example, if I show you here, this is pfSense.syncbricks.local. It has automatically created the DNS entry here. And if I open this, I can also open this with the pfSense.syncbricks.local. And here is the user ID and password. So I'm able to open this also. But what if I want to create any other server on my local network, any web service which is running on my network? So suppose this is the Pi-hole IP address, and if I want to use this as a server.syncbricks.local, so server will be 192.168.240.6. So how I can do that? I will go here into services, DNS resolver, and I will add host override. So there are two options. One is domain override, but let me show you first the host override. So what I'll do here, host name will be server, so domain name will be syncbricks.local. So server, which I have already configured, this is my server 192.168.240.6. Instead of IP address, I want to open server.syncbricks.local. So I will be creating a DNS entry here. So here is server.syncbricks.local and the IP address is 192.168.240.6. Description can be added. So I'll simply click on save. So I'll be simply applying the changes, and now I can open this Pi-hole. Instead of 192.168.240.6, I can type server.syncbricks.local. Here you can see I'm now able to log into Pi-hole using server.syncbricks.local, and here is Pi-hole. pfSense has this entry here. If I show you services, DNS resolver, you will see down here one entry is already there for a server, which is server.syncbricks.local, and its IP address is 192.168.240.6. I can add more. In fact, I can click on add. So this time I will do proxmox.syncbricks.local, and its address will be 192.168.240.2, and this will be proxmox virtual environment, and I will save it. I can also add multiple DNS names. I will go down and I will edit this, the one which I have added. So I can tell it that it is a PVE also .syncbricks.local, and it is also virtualization syncbricks.local. So this way I can add multiple names for the same DNS, apply the changes. So you can see here that now multiple aliases has been added for the proxmox, and down you can see that PVE and virtualization are both aliases for the proxmox.syncbricks.local. Now suppose there are multiple servers on your network with the same DNS names, and you want to make sure that every time there is a request for a specific server, for example, if I say that it is syncbricks.local, so what should be the IP address of syncbricks.local? You can choose any IP address. Syncbricks.local of course doesn't exist on the internet, but if you provide this here, so if you have configured any web server, suppose web server is, for example, this 101 is the web server, and here you want to configure syncbricks.local so that this will start giving you response internally. Or it could be even syncbricks.com, which means that if you have configured the website locally and you want to get the response from the server for this particular IP address, you can do that as well. Now if I try to open syncbricks.com, it won't open because it is now looking for the IP address which I have provided. So I'll go back here to syncbricks.com and I'll remove this entry here now, apply the changes now. So this was all about the DNS. Let us move to the next video and understand that how the firewall is configured in pfSense.